Social media users, some of whom are identifying themselves as country music fans, are calling for a boycott of the country music television network after it pulled Jason Aldean's controversial music video for Try That in a Small Town. CMT had initially aired the video, but yanked it yesterday after it garnered widespread attention over its lyrics and for featuring a Tennessee courthouse where a Black teenager was lynched in 1927. The video lasted just 1 week on the network before they pulled it. When the video was removed from its rotation, it had only 350,000 views on YouTube. Now, since the controversy, that video has been viewed over 16 million times, is now the #1 trending video under the music category. And if you haven't seen the video yet, Jason Aldean, who has received the Country Music Artist of the Decade by the Academy of Country Music, performs in front of the Maury County Courthouse in Columbia, Tennessee. Now, this courthouse is the site of the 1946 Columbia race riot and the 1927 mob lynching of an 18-year-old Black teenager. Folks say that this video is a visual dog whistle to racism, and some say it's actually a pro-lynching video. What do you think, Professor Walker? Is this video, dog whistle? Is it pro-lynching? Aldean and his team have come out and said, they don't know what folks are talking about. He was just celebrating growing up in a small town and remembering when life was simple and easy and folks got along. And he says personally, he didn't know about the history of this courthouse. Are you buying that?
No, and this is the intersection of racial violence and capitalism in America. I'm just going to keep it. I want to be
keep it a buck, okay?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it 100, as we say in the community, and that's just it. I mean, listen, this got feels of birth of a nation, or going with the wind. It's propaganda, and I use those two movies as example because this country has excelled of using racist propaganda to reinforce stereotypes and misconceptions about Black people. So let's just be clear. Yes. And because some people say maybe he didn't know about it, but listen, I looked at the lyrics. It is consistent with everything we've seen here since the election of Donald Trump. And this trend and response, as I said, highlight that before, is a response to a perceived Black progress in the United States. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's an age-old tradition of using propaganda that specifically focuses on a particular topic. This one relating to perceived, political power or violence. He didn't have any January 6th tape on that, did he? He didn't have any of that on there, did he?
Well, Sharon, I was buying it. I was buying it. I wasn't buying it. I was reserving judgment. Let me be clear. I said, let me do a little bit more research. Then as I looked, I didn't know who Jason Aldean was, and I looked him up. And to your point, Professor Walker, not only is he a big Trump supporter, but he has dressed in blackface. He likes to wear the Confederate flag. The Confederate flag is a part of his merch that he sells around his other merchandise. And yeah, I think it's kind of hard to believe when you look at the stanza, particularly stanza 2. Stanza 1 sounds okay. It's not that controversial, but then he gets into stanza 2, and it's very clear that this is attacking folks who protest, even peaceful protest. And you're right, Professor Walker, I didn't see any January 6th footage. And he claims that all of that footage is from news reports, which I think a sister has gone on Instagram or Twitter to say, no, dude, first of all, that's a lie. All that, is not original footage from the news. But what were you thinking, Sharon, when you saw this controversy?
Well, he's all in. And he's been to Mar-a-Lago, too. I don't know if he used that restroom where the documents were stored, but he's all in on this. So look, cut it. If you want to be a racist, be a racist. If you want to be a bully, be a bully. This is cowardly, okay? His defense of this is cowardly. This is a calculated, premeditated attack, if you will. He meant to do this to get the buzz so that Areva Martin would know who Jason Aldean is. Okay, and now you do. And I think the people who are defending it as some kind of artistic freedom and freedom of speech, they're cowardly too. I'd rather you just show up as who you truly are. And that's exactly what's going on here with this song And now he's got a hit on his hands, and it's another hit job at Black people telling us to sit down and shut up.
Yeah, you just kind of wonder, like, dude, just own it. Just own it. Like DeSantis saying he didn't do it with the educational standards. Yes, you did, because you enacted this, stop the woke or anti-woke legislation, which you knew would lead to these kinds of standards being, enacted by your education department. So I don't know why, when folks get caught, they try to gaslight the rest of us into believing that somehow, they're innocent, they don't have blood on their hands, when it's very clear that they do. And the other thing, Professor Walker, that bugs me about, Jason's, selective denial, look, this is Tennessee. So whether you knew about this particular courthouse or not, you know that the Klan was started in these little small towns in Tennessee. You know the history of racism and the race riots that have happened in these small towns. So when you talk about hearkening back to a time when America was great, you do know exactly what you're talking about. So even if you don't know the history of this particular courthouse, that's what's so galling about the explanation, Professor, is he knows the history of Tennessee.
He sure does. It's not even from a small town. It's propaganda. That's all it is. I mean, listen, it's a moneymaker. And look, like I said, you believe in capitalism. He's making plenty of money. His record label's making plenty of money. And the other thing is, Areva, let's be clear, the white men engaged in this kind of behavior have never really been held responsible throughout U.S. history. So this is the reason why he made the video and wrote the song, because historically, the individuals that do this aren't held accountable. So yeah, it's a pro-lynching bill, and it's also an anti-Black bill and an anti-protest bill, except for those who were at January 6th. Let's be very clear again about those. It is not focused on insurrectionists. It is focused on those individuals who protest relating to Black, police brutality and misconduct.
Absolutely. So to your point about capitalism, yes, now he has a #1 hit on his hands. He had a little sleepy video that wasn't getting a whole lot of attention online, that now has over 16 million views. And, it's a #1 song. So he has accomplished a lot with this one video, attacking Black folks, spreading this anti-Black hate, and at the same time, making money. So what's new in America?